Yo, what's up there, everyone out there on YouTube? This is your host, What a Doozy 1929 here with another episode of GTA Autos. Now, a few days ago, we have gotten a new vehicle, and this is still the Gun Runnings DLC. So what Rockstar's been doing is they usually do a little thing is they start giving out cars. They give out their cars, new cars each week that are not on the game yet. So they're in the game codes, but they just haven't released them yet. So recently we've had a new supercar that came out. It was a Dubachi car. I don't know what model it is, but it's a really nice car. I advise y'all to take a look at it and buy it if y'all would like it. Trust me, it's a nice vehicle. I don't own it. I test drove it. It's a wonderful vehicle. The second car that we have right now, it came out. It came out 2 days ago, if I'm correct, I think. And this car is the new Cheetah Classic. This is such a beautiful looking car. I mean, the edges and the lines and the crisp edges are just wonderful. So, before we get started, I give you specs, I give you history, I give you all the information you need to know about the cars I do on this show. Not all my stuff is going to be 100% accurate. So please be mindful of what you put on that comments list. So let's get started. The Cheetah. One of Rockstar's most iconic cars in the GTA series. It was first introduced in Grand Theft Auto 3, if I'm correct. And it was kind of a little bit more rounded off. Ooh, excuse me. It was a bit rounded off. But we didn't get to full variants and fell in love with the Cheetah until Grand Theft Auto Vice City, the next game over. And the Cheetah literally showed out how the 80s was supposed to be. Since Vice City was based off the 1980s, they gave the Cheetah a look, not more of a rounded look, because the 1980s was a time when cars were starting to become boxy and the lines were starting to become crisp and sharp. So, back then there was a term: the boxier your car was, the more desirable, the good looking it was. So, I've probably used that term, I messed it up a little bit, but you get the picture of what I'm trying to say. The boxier the car was, the more desirable it was. So, this car literally is based off the well-known, iconic Ferrari Testarossa. Now, Ferrari Testarossa this car is the most iconic car from the 1980s. Sporting a 4.9 liter Ferrari Flat 12, retailed at $181,000 in 1988, which is the equivalent of $372,000 in 2017 standards. It was the most stunning Ferrari to ever come out of Maranello, Italy. This car was actually, its name came from the well-known, well, yeah, it is iconic. These Ferraris are really iconic. It came from the famed world champion 1957 Ferrari 250 Testarossa. And this car is literally probably the holy grail of Ferraris, close, right next to the 250 GTO. And this was a race car, and it just basically dominated the track back then. So this car, like I said, really iconic. It was in many movies and TV shows throughout history. This car was in Rock of Ages, Top Kids, Lil Wayne's Chains, Rich as Fuck, excuse my French, and the well-known TV series Miami Vice. Only 7,177 examples of this car was ever made, making the Testarossa one of the most mass-produced Ferraris in history. So, we go back to the Cheetah. The Cheetah, I like the version when it was in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Everybody loved the Cheetah from Grand Theft Auto Vice City. No one wanted the version from Grand Theft Auto 3 and Liberty City. I mean, that wasn't the Cheetah. The Cheetah that we know was the wonderful looking 80s Testarossa car that we just fell in love with in Grand Theft Auto Vice City, in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, in Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. This was the Cheetah that we fell in love with, and I love it when Rockstar brings back these cars from these previous games. They did it right with this car. But there's one thing that kind of irks me a little bit with this car. Now, the whole car is beautiful. I'm just gonna give you this. It's just a wonderful car. The rear end, flawless. This is such a beautiful rear end. The exhaust is so beautifully made. The way how the engine is shown throughout. This is a custom-made car, so I made it the way I want it to. So if you were to buy it, it's not going to look like this once you buy it, but you take it to the Los Santos Customs, you can make it like this. I mean, this whole car is just really stunning. The interior is just so wonderful because they really went with the period correct. They really went from a really period correct interior with the radio, the dash. This is period correct. And this car does have pop-up headlights. I mean, the Cheetah from Vice City, it shows that it's supposed to have pop-up headlights, but they never popped up. I mean, it was just these little bottom headlights right here that basically shined at night when you were driving in Vice City and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So when you pop the headlights, this is what irks me. The way the headlights pop up, I hate it. Now I bet you're wondering, what do you mean? The design of these headlights, they're terrible. I don't like how these headlights look. It looks like the V12 BMW that they made in the 90s. That's what it kind of resembles a little bit. And I don't like that because this is an Italian car. It's supposed to look stunning. And I mean, it's the same thing with the Turismo Classic. It's the same thing, but instead of them being completely hidden away, they're partially hidden away. So they only pop up a little bit. But I just do not like the design of the pop-up headlights. I mean, it's just not a good thing. Now, if they were to make it look like the Tropos, if you know what the Tropos look like, you know, just look it up. But the Tropos is one of the first cars on this game, Grand Theft Auto 5, to have pop-up headlights. And it's a classic car based off the Lancia, I think it's the Lancia Stratus. But those pop-up headlights I like on that car. Now, if they were to integrate that same design onto this car, I mean, I would have been sold right there. The front end's a little bit, you know, rounded off a little bit, but that's not terrible. That's not irking me. It's these headlights that are irking me. Other than that, the whole overall design of this car is just so wonderful. The way how the engine sounds, it's just wonderful. So we're going to take this car on a little cruise around the beach. Now, I did choose this beach area because, I mean, this is a 80s sports car. It's an 80s Ferrari. This car literally made its fame. It made its fame in Miami Vice. And, of course, we're not in Miami, so we're in Los Angeles, which is what San Andreas is based off of. And if this was Vice City, I mean, this would be perfect. So this is the only close thing that we can, you know, this is the closest area I can think of to be based off, you know, Miami right now. So when this car was released on, when this design was released on Grand Theft Auto Vice City, I mean, of course, the whole thing with Vice City was based off the 80s. So they were stupid not to make this car the way it looks like right now. So right now, it drives wonderfully, so I'm going to take it out on the street and get it out the sand because this is where this car, this is where this car actually performs well. Now, performance, to be honest with you, it's a little bit lacking. It's lacking a little bit because if you compare this car to the Turismo Classic, the Turismo Classic feels quicker. It feels like it's going faster. And if you think of it, it actually is. Because both of these cars are based off of Ferraris. But the Testarossa is actually slower than the car that the Turismo Classic is based off of. And that's based off the F40. And the F40 is the first Ferrari to ever hit the 200 mile an hour mark. So I think that that's probably what they did. They chose to do that. I mean, they're not going to make this car faster than the Turismo Classic, and if they did, it wouldn't be, you know, it wouldn't make sense. But to an average person, that I mean, they wouldn't care. But to me, I know cars, I know what they, you know, should be, and what Rockstar did was they actually really paid attention to detail when it comes to, you know, separating the classes of the Turismo Classic and the Cheetah Classic. They're the same kind of car. They're both based off of Ferraris, but the Turismo Classic is faster than this car because it's based off the F40, and the F40, like I said, was the first Ferrari to hit the 200-mile-an-hour mark. So, I'm gonna stop right here because I mean I just want to give my ending epilogue. But this car, wonderful car, wonderful car. This car is retail, I think, around $800-something thousand. So we're gonna look it up right now, you know, just to give y'all $865,000. And here's the car that came out before then, last week, the Dubachi Wagner, $1.5 million. So if you got that kind of money, buy that car and buy the Grotti Cheetah Classic. This car is wonderful. It's got wonderful design. It also has a two-tone design where you can put a race line on there. It's just a wonderful looking car. Now, when it comes to styling, I'm going to have to give this car a 10. When it comes to performance, I'm going to have to give this car a 9. Because this car is, like I said, not as fast as the Turismo Classic. So, obviously, that's what's going to have to happen. Styling, like I said, is a 10 because this car is so stunning. It has a lot of elegance, a lot of poise, a lot of panache. This car is just really wonderful. The stance and how it looks, it's just so timeless and flawless that it just reminds you of the 80s. That's what I love about this car. So that's why I've given this car a styling Q of 10. Now, sophistication, all that, like I said, that's a 10 too. This car is just an overall wonderful car. Now, I kind of almost felt, you know, everybody know that it kind of had a problem when it oversteered when you turned either left or right. I can't remember, but it kind of oversteered. When I drove this car, I had a feeling when it comes to driving this car. It almost had that feeling, but I guess it's just me driving in the dirt because that area's got dirt everywhere. So yeah, I mean that I guess that's probably what you expect. But overall, this car has some work. You need to buy this car. It's a wonderful car, really not that expensive compared to the other cars that are going to be coming out soon. Next week or so, I think we're going to be having some more classic sports supercars coming out, and two of them I'm looking forward on doing my review on. I think Rockstar is really showing their ass off when it comes to bringing back these classic cars. I'll see you guys later.